Okay, we are live here on the talk, talking to Daelan from Upscale Audio, getting ready for the show in what, a few hours almost?
Like 12 hours, maybe a
Yeah,
little
I'll
bit
see you
longer, but
soon.
yeah.
So, are you all packed?
Myself, no, I haven't even started. The rest of the shop is good to go. We just drove down. I think they drove the truck down there at 2. They
All
made
right.
it. I was scared. I got a phone call that they were flipped on the side of the road, so that's a little scary, but they were fine. They're fine. You can fix K-horns. That's no problem. That's easy.
So I'm glad to hear that all of the equipment's there, but you do need clothes. I mean, you could just wear that shirt the whole time, but
I can do it. It's like a texture. It'll smell a little bit, but that's no problem. It's no problem at
awesome.
all.
Yeah, that's perfect. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Well, I'm super excited to go to the show this year. It's going to be bigger and better than ever. Starting Friday, I don't even have to say the dates. June, I don't care, and I don't care. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like it's this
Yeah,
week.
super
So
easy.
yeah, it is at the Hilton, Orange County, Costa Mesa. So if you don't know where that is, Google it. That's what I do. Or it's on the website and all of those other places. So super excited to see Upscale. So before we get deep into how Upscale works and who's going to be at the show and what's going to be there, let's talk a little bit about you. So how did you get into HiFi to begin with?
So I feel like a lot of kids that grew up kind of 90s, their parents had speaker systems of some sort. So I couldn't even tell you what my dad and mom had. There was boxes, when you still had rack systems in a wooden crate with a glass door on the front next to the tube TV. So I grew up with those, and then parents just had me listen to music all the time. And then when I was in high school, I got a job at Best Buy. Or when I was in college, I got a job at Best Buy. Worked my way through there. Met some of my current coworkers there, helped train them. And then one of them moved to Upscale, Jake, from our YouTube channel, moved to Upscale. And then he brought along Jordan, also from our YouTube channel, and then myself. And we've all been friends and coworkers for like it's 2025, like almost 10 years now we've worked together. So kind of worked out that way, and I just kind of got the sneaky in, but it worked out well. This is a way better job than my previous job, so it's way more fun. And then I've just just kind of done it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. So when you say you got your friends at Best Buy kind of got you connected with Upscale, did they have a job at Upscale first and they kind of brought you in?
Jake was working at a FedEx, and our one of our managers came in and he said, "Yeah, I'm sending a DAC." And Jake said, "Oh, I know what that is." And he's like, "Wait, do you need a new job? I got you." So he gave him he got a job. Then he called me asking, "Hey, would you be interested in a job a couple years later?" I'm like, "Yes, please." I've actually almost thought about calling you a couple times to see if you guys were hiring, because you're down the street from my house. I think it takes me like 10 minutes to get to work.
That's
And
perfect.
it's a great job. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about Upscale itself. Like, I know you've been working there a while, but tell me about the place. I know I've been there and love it, but
I mean, we're a retail store, so we've got tons of different products from, like the Mesa headphones that I'm wearing. I've got a Ferrum stack next to me, a project turntable. We kind of sell everything, but what's different about us is we're not on commission. So we really don't care if you want to buy something or if you want to spend $500 or if you want to spend 70 grand. We just want you to be happy. We want everything to work for you. We joke that we're going to make your system ours, or treat your system like it's ours. Because we're all just hi-fi nerds. We just want to listen to music, and we just want to enjoy our system and geek out with everybody. So that's what makes shows so much fun. And that's why we like the show, because it's our hometown. It's going to take me an hour and a half to get there tomorrow because of traffic, but normally I can be there in 25, 30 minutes. Like it's just down the street for me.
Yeah. And I can attest to Upscale being a place that is super welcoming to everyone. If you're local to this area, I highly recommend taking some time. They have events. My husband and I went to a REL subwoofer
Oh my
event.
goodness.
That
So good.
was,
Last year's was so good.
it was epic. I got to hear the MoFi Source Point 888s, and with that REL
with
subwoofer.
with a 6-pack of 510s. It was
Yeah,
so crazy.
it
Between
was.
that and the theater room,
Yeah.
I don't know if you got to listen to that, but the theater room, it sounded like John Wick was actually shooting a gun in our shop. It was kind of scary.
The theater room was a little overwhelming for me personally.
The fish tank thing, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very live. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was great.
But
But
yeah,
we
no,
also,
if you're, I was gonna say real quick, if you're in town, like give us a call. We do walk-ins. We might not have something set up for you to listen to, but we're more than happy to play. That's something that you want to listen to.
yeah, it's a great place to be. I think that you work at a pretty awesome place to have a job. Um, so what are some like super popular or unique products that you guys carry that you just wish that everyone knew about?
I mean, we carry fine audio. They're some of the best speakers I've ever heard. Like, and
Oh
then
yeah.
obviously I'm gonna be biased because we sell them and we like them and whatnot. Our sister company distributes them, but they're so easy to listen to. They're so smooth. They've got, they're off of Tanway. They're the original guys that made Tanway, so they've got
Mm.
this prestige behind them. They're handmade in Scotland. All these cool things, and people are starting to come around and listen to them. We brought them to the show last year. We're bringing some this year. Um, that stuff's awesome. I think as a headphone person myself, I like when people get to check out the Felix products. It's like the Felix Envy, and then we brought on Oris as well. So their Hedonia 300B headphone amp, it's the size of most people's integrated and or preamp power amp combos. It's $13,000. All it does is be a headphone amp, but it's insane. We wheeled it out to the show last year, and people just stopped and looked at us like, "You guys are crazy. What is that thing?"
Yeah, my headphone amp is right there, and it's about
Yeah, mine's on my
this
desk,
big.
and it's like this big, and that's with an extra power supply. So
Yeah, that's amp and DAC sitting on top of each other. So, yeah. So yeah, I can't imagine. I actually remember you guys hauling that around on
yeah, it
a.
was on like a furniture dolly in a wooden crate. It was awesome. It was
Yeah,
awesome. We had so much fun listening to it. Toned it down this year a little bit. We didn't need to bring the gigantic thing, but we'll get into that later and about what we're bringing. So
actually, let's ask now.
sure.
Like, what are you guys gonna bring, and how many rooms are you guys gonna have?
So we've got two big rooms that have two rooms inside each of them. So it's
Mm.
kind of four rooms. There'll be two active systems. One will be a fine system. So FYNE, they'll both be fine systems, but this one will be a fine speaker system. So it'll be their 704 SPs, which just came out when we were at Expona. They're behemoths of speakers. They're in your face. They're dual 12s. They're dual 10s. Sorry, excuse me, dual 10s. They're still just gigantic. And then we're also going to have in our second room the new Klipschorns, the new AK7s. So those will be powered with Prima Luna. So, our favorite brand. And then the Fine will be powered with gigantic Pathos, spaceship looking monoblocks, their Adrenalins, and then their Synapse preamp. So we'll have those. We'll have a static room with just some stuff that we really like. And then we'll have a small headphone section as well this year.
Yeah, I've seen in your shop there's a whole wall of headphone and display and stuff.
Yeah.
So
It's a lot of fun. It looks really nice right now. Exponent, it looked like we got robbed because we took everything and put it into a box. Uh, but like I said, we're doing a small headphone thing this year. I kind of pushed for it. I was like, let's do it. It'll be fun. So there'll be we'll have like 3 amps and 3 pairs of headphones, nothing crazy, but just to get our feet wet, or just get people's feet wet if they're just kind of looking around. If there's no room sitting in the actual listening rooms, we'll have those ready to go as well. And then the static room, where a couple of us will be hanging out, we can just kind of chit chat and talk about product and kind of show off things.
I definitely think headphones have a place especially at the show, because we're trying to get everyone into hi-fi. And
Yeah.
I think that it's a good stepping stone, because you can really hear how wonderful things can sound just right in your ears.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm more of a headphone person myself. Like, I come home from work, I sit at my computer, I'm either listening to music, I'm watching a Dodger game, or playing video games, and like, I'm running my hi-fi system through my computer. I know that's not the best thing to do because of noise and whatever, but I don't care. So, but like, it always sounds good. Sounds exactly the same. I put my headphones on. If I take my amp and my headphones somewhere else, plug them into my computer, plug them into the computer, sounds exactly the same. It's easy. I've had speakers. I love speakers. It's a different experience, but headphones are definitely fun. And there's cool companies at the show, like Cord. Like, Cord does their Mojo and their Hugo and their TT2 headphone amp. Like, it's awesome stuff.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said about the same sound. These speakers that you can see behind me here, we first started with those set up in our bedroom, and they sounded absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. They had no depth to them. It was like I was listening to a tin can. And so we decided, let's see what happens when we bring them out here. And they don't even sound like the same speakers. So to be able to have your headphones always have that same sound, there's definitely
Yeah,
something to
it's kind of crazy. Sometimes, one little thing can make such a difference in your speaker system. We do demos that are appointment only at the shop, and we have people tell them, oh, there's a excuse me, the car being a loser driving past and revving his turbo. But we tell people, give us 72 hours or so if you want a demo, just because we take the time to really set everything up, and it upsets us when we can't get it sounding right. Like, we do these things, week in, week out, Joel and myself, and like, we know what these speakers should sound like. We know how they can sound, and whether it's this cable that we wanted to do this time, they were using cable A, and on these speakers, cable B sounds better, and you plug them in, it lights the room up, and you're like, whoa, okay, there we go. Something was missing there. Like, you need to take the time with that. And sometimes people don't want that time, so they go headphones. But sometimes when you get that speaker system dialed just right, and they come alive and open up and fill a room, and you almost brings a tear to your eye. It's really special.
Yeah, when you can get that tear in your eye, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Will you be helping with the setting up of the rooms this year?
Oh yeah. No, I will. Like, I joked that it's like 12 hours from now, but I'm going to be waking up at like 6:30, leaving my house at 6:30 to get down there and start setting things up by 9.
Yeah,
So,
there's definitely a long process of listening and then listening again and then moving something a tiny bit. And
yeah, so we'll be doing that pretty much all day tomorrow. And then sometimes we just, they're in bedrooms and hotel rooms. So sometimes you need to just do a little bit more tweaking, maybe toe in another degree, maybe, lift a 150-pound speaker and move it forward 3 more inches. Like, there's these little minute things that you're changing.
yeah. And you can't just like have it on wheels, because those don't sound good.
No. And man, I miss when we get new speakers. It's so nice when we unbox them and they're not on feet. And I can push them around on the rug. It's wonderful. And they're like, all right, let's put the feet on. I'm like, are you sure? I know it's gonna sound better, but they sound really good as it is. Do we need the 3-inch metal spikes, or that we don't need them? No, just leave. It's okay.
They're almost good enough. Let's just go
They're
with it being
almost good enough.
almost.
So what if the bass sounds a little bloaty and tubby? It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah. Cables matter, but the being on a piece of wood with a spike, it's that part doesn't matter, right?
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, does Upscale have anything else exciting that they're going to be doing at the show this year?
We do actually. So Kevin, our owner, is going to be. I have my schedule here, so I got the timing right because I don't want to send people to another thing and be like, "Where's Uncle Kevy?" You know, we want to make sure people go see him. But Kevin's going to be giving like tube stories of where he's found tubes. I know you can't really tell, but there's a tube on our logo. I'm right in the middle of
Mhm.
it. And that's kind of how he started the company, was just wanting to sell tubes, and has continued doing that over 30 years now. Uh, like it's his passion. I think all three of his sports cars say something tube related on them for the license plate, and then one of them has a license plate frame that says if you use a transistor you go to jail. Like that's the law. Like he's all in on tubes, and he wants people to like experience the magic of tubes. I mean, right when you walk into our shop, you've seen the museum he has of vintage Marantte's Model 1, Model 2. I think there's a Model 5, and then like a pair of Model 8 monoblocks, like almost perfect, pristine condition. Like this is the type of stuff that he loves. So he's going to be telling tube stories of where he's gone on his worldly travels uh, to find tubes. And I pulled up the list we were talking about earlier. Like one of the stories he has is finding Bombay's last sources of India-made mollards. Sure, you know, there's probably a story of him in a coffee shop in like Bangladesh, and they opened a supply closet and there's some mollards in there that he traded a chicken for. I don't know, like weird things like this that Kevin has found tubes at. So he'll be giving a talk that's at 3 o'clock on Saturday. Um, in I don't know if there's multiple rooms, but I'll find a room that's going to be
Okay.
in. But that should
It's
be fun.
usually all of the seminars are in the same room, so
Okay, well
it should
then
be just in
you
that
should be able
room.
to find it, no problem. 3 o'clock Saturday.
All right. Well, I will definitely be guiding people there, but unfortunately for both of us, I don't think either of us are going to get to hear these stories.
I know. I've heard some of them. I've heard some of them at work, but that is one of those things that I want to sneak off to and like see if I can get a listen in. But it's going to be hard to sneak out with two of us leaving the room at the same time.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe one of our friends can record it for us.
yeah, I'll go get like a Diet Coke break or something for everybody. I'll take one for the team and brave the elevators going up and down to go listen to Kevin.
Yeah, I definitely think that sounds like a really interesting seminar, getting to hear what he's learned, and what he's done and where he's found things. He's a really interesting guy. So
He is an absolute hoot to be around. You know, he's like you said, he's got all these stories. You know, he's been in HiFi for since he was 16. He's in his 60s now, so like most of his life. He knows everybody in the industry too. Like people just know Kevin Deal, and you know we get people who are so excited to meet him, partially because of our YouTube channel, partially because he's been around for so long and so many people have shopped at Upscale Audio. The one that sticks out to me is we had two gentlemen come in maybe about a year and a half ago that were doing a demo, and he showed up that day to work to show up and do a couple things in the shop. Said, "Well, here, let me go see what they're listening to." And they opened the door, and I heard two grown men, probably in their 60s, giggle and go, "Oh, it's him!" Like they were so excited to meet him, and just like shake the dude's hand. Like people look up to him, and that's why you know they call him Uncle Kevy. And we get emails that just say, "Hey, tell Uncle Kevy I say hi, and I hope he's okay, and the cars are cool, and his audio still sounds good." So he'll have some good stories, and I think people won't want to miss that.
well, I've walked into Upscale and I've seen that glass case you talk about that is
Yeah.
a museum case that says do not set anything on this. I may or may not have set a drink on that a couple of times.
You know, I lean against that all the time when we're about to close, or you know, I'll put something light on it. But it's really because we don't want people bringing a 90-pound Pathos amp and putting it on glass. Like, that's just a recipe for disaster. So yeah, we do have that nice little thing, and people do laugh when I put, a pen or a piece of paper, and they look at me like, you can't do that. I'm like, oh, it's okay. It's just a pen. But they're like, no.
It says on the sign.
It literally says right there, please do not touch the glass or put anything on it.
So has he taken some of those tubes with him to use as?
I don't know. He shows up to the shop and then disappears in a flash. So if he grabs some stuff today, I don't know. What I could do is just open our spare tubes box and just be like, hey, I need this for a show thing. But if that amp breaks down, like, we'll just run in real quick, interrupt Kevin, and we'll run back out. But I mean, I don't know. Tubes are so small, and I don't know. There's going to be 100+ people in a seminar. Like, you're not gonna be able to see anything. But maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know.
Well, we have
his bag of tricks.
We have Larry in the chat helping us out. So he says that the seminars will be in Pacific Ballroom 1.
Oh, perfect.
So that's for those.
Oh, yeah. And then he's got our room numbers 262 and 264. Yep.
He's got our back right there.
We're kind of hidden, but if you've been to the show before, you come out of the elevators and there's a little kind of breezeway there. You got to go around the elevators and we'll be right there. And we'll have signs and stuff.
I haven't been in those kinds of rooms as much as the others, so I will definitely have to.
I have no idea what the rooms look like. I just know where they're at. So
I'm excited because I will definitely have to check your guys' room out. It will be really fun. So I've said too many times, but hey, don't point that out.
Oh my goodness. I had a professor that counted us during presentations and then would ask people, how many did you get? How many did you get? Okay, what do you think you got? So it's instilled in me to not do it, and I still do it, but it's whatever.
So do you know if Upscale is planning on going to any of the other Total HiFi Experience shows that they're doing around the US this year?
I don't think so, because we normally have like our normal 4 shows that we do, which are Can Jam, NYC, Expona, the show, and then Can Jam SoCal. Because we're then in between those, we're doing the events at the shop. So we've got the show this weekend, and then in just a month's time, we're gonna have another event at the shop, I think.
Ooh, I
have no idea what's going on yet. Still kind of top secret, and we'll get the newsletter sent out as we always do. But yeah, we're gonna get stuff back, unpack some things, and then frantically move around.
Well, those events are definitely worth checking out. So anybody who is not on your newsletter needs to definitely
sign up.
Those out.
Sign up. Go to our website. You can sign up there. If you sign up. There's a little thing. We have our rewards that we call high fives, and we'll essentially give you $10 just for signing up for our newsletter. Nice. So you can put that towards a tube or a cable, or some Focal Grand Utopias that you've been saving for. That $10 that might get you right over the edge of that 280 grand. So
yeah, that $10 is definitely gonna.
It's $10. Hey, if you want to give me $10 for nothing, sure. I'll totally sign up a newsletter for $10.
Yes,
I don't get to take advantage of that. I was already signed up for the newsletter, so
you just get it automatically. So
I wish I may have the power to add high fives, but I got to save that for good, not evil.
I can just give you a couple high fives for that.
Yeah.
Nice. So, are there any trends in HiFi that you personally have seen happening that are either surprising or things that you think are just really cool?
Any trends? I feel like a lot of people there's a lot of interest in kind of all-in-one streamers, I feel like, and I don't know if it's just because Eversolo came out and it absolutely killed it, with their products. They just absolutely dominated. We were so busy when the first A6 and the A8 and then the A6 Master came out. like we have people calling us all the time. They're like, oh, I want to have a server, I want to have a streamer. If it has a preamp capability, if it has a headphone output on it too. The HiFi rows and the render have HDMI that you can plug into and go ARC to your TV, which I really like. That's something that I see. I think there's also a lot of people that are slowly starting to delve into more headphones and starting to realize that, hey, there's some really cool headphones out there, especially some of the new wireless ones, like the new Focal Batiste MGs. Those are really sweet. I really like the Focal Batiste, just the normal ones. The T.E solitaires, those are awesome. I've definitely stolen them from the shop before to go to the gym because I forgot my headphones. Little things like that. I think a lot of people are really getting into headphones and kind of the all-in-one systems.
I'm really glad because we've got people younger than even the two of us, because we're young for audiophiles, but
Yeah.
I'm not really all that young anymore. But to get people into the hobby, we really need to embrace things that are easier.
Yeah.
And I feel like the all-in-one systems are a little bit easier to grasp.
Oh, totally. I mean, we have husbands that'll call us and be like, hey, I want to make sure that this is easy to use so my wife can use it. Like, if they've gotten a render hooked up to the TV, we've been told they don't care about the wives or the partners, whoever it is, their kids. They don't really care about the system. They just want to be able to hear the TV through the speakers. So they need to be able to use it. And, if they've got friends over or they're having a party, they want people to be able to jump on to the music stream or to the streamer or whatever like that. It needs to be easy, not just something that's a pain to set up. Because I remember growing up, my dad had to teach me how to use the receiver to turn on the surround sound, and my sisters would wake me up on Saturday morning when I didn't want to be woken up because it's Saturday morning, just so they could watch TV. I'm like, no, you got to learn how to do this. But now it's getting so easy, and with with phones and stuff, you can just turn on Tidal Connect or Qobuz Connect now that's out, and just boom, you're ready to go.
Yeah. Even I love listening to audio and all of that. I want it to still be easy. It's just, I want to be able to sit down and listen and then get up and do something I need to do and then sit down and listen. And I don't have enough focus in my life. Like I can't sit down for that much time to just sit there and listen to a whole album. So I need it to just kind of be something that I can tune into.
We have in my office at the shop, we have a bookcase, like a metal bookcase or shelving, metal shelves that will put like RMAs that we're working on, or we have all our headphone cables there, pickup orders for when people are coming in. But for, I don't know, 6 months or so, Jordan at the shop put a pair of fine F701s on there, which are like a couple $1,000 pair of bookshelves. But then he also put a Parasound JC5 power amp on there, as well as a T+A DAC 200. And it's like, this man has a $25,000 sound system behind a desk, slammed up against a wall, just because he can. And it was over the top. It made the room rattle. There was a carbon special from Rel down there too. And I tore it down. I was like, dude, this is too much. This is way too complicated to have in an office. One, I need the speakers for a demo, so you're losing them. Two, you can't have a $7,700 DAC plugged in so you can play memes on when we're having a little fun. So like I put just a little powered speaker behind there. It's so easy. I can open my phone, boom, cast right to it. It's done. It sounds great. There's shelf space again. I don't need this gigantic elaborate system that I need to pull open a server to and control it from a computer. Like, it was just too complicated. If it's a listening room and my main system, perfect. I don't need to turn everything on. I don't need to worry about waking up the neighbors down the street in the housing complex or anything just for listening to it in an office. So I totally understand wanting it to be easy and just wanting to listen to your music.
That guy's not the one who set up the theater room the day I was there.
No. Jordan built the theater room. One of the guys from Rel, set that up, and Jordan helped tweak it. So yeah, you can blame him for the fish tankness now, because it was a little much. And what we're talking about is, if you've never been to the aquarium, it says please don't tap on the glass. Maritte now understands why, because Finding Nemo was on, and the tapping on the glass, she now understands why. Don't do it.
Yeah. Please don't tap on the glass. I'm going to tell you that personally. Please don't tap on the glass.
I remember you coming out and telling me that with your husband. I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. I want to go listen to it now, because that sounds kind of insane, but it was insane. But you're pressurizing a room like that to the point where you're seeing dust fall from the ceiling. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really fun.
Yeah, it definitely was immersive audio. That's for sure.
Yeah. I told people the other week that came in for just on a walk-in on a Saturday, and I explained to them how you can do crazy home theater things like that. And the guys, I saw the gears turning, and then the light bulb hit, and he's like, oh, okay, I'm going to bring my wife back. She needs to understand. She's going to get it, and we'll listen to a demo, and we'll do it. So I'm going to call him, and we're going to set something up, and he's going to get the fish tank experience. And hopefully he likes it.
Well, I definitely would like to get more wives into the HiFi hobby, because so many times, I mean, even you mentioned that people trying to please their wife, and it's like, I have an opinion and 2 ears. So
yeah. Well, and women typically have better hearing. Like it's you typically have a little bit more on the upper scale, upper range. So, if you're getting an overly detailed speaker that a husband likes, and you bring it home and you can't listen to it, you're like, what did you buy? This is the worst possible thing that you could have chosen. So it is an important part.
Yeah, and I definitely think that's why I really enjoyed the MoFi 888s in that room, because you guys had it toned specifically for the subs, and so it wasn't breaking my eardrums with all of the high notes, because I can hear all of the little pieces of the guitar, all the little times that they strum and all of that, even with that
stuff. Yeah.
So
yeah, we don't always have husband wives come in for demos, but we have been getting more and more where husbands want to come in, and they'll bring their wives, and they'll come reluctantly, but they're spending not an insignificant amount of money, so they want to show them. And I did a demo for this guy, and he brought his wife in, and she's like, yeah, this is kind of his thing. And she walked out, she's like, oh my gosh, I get it. That was so much fun. Like, yeah, we need to come back. And they came back for a second demo, and they're getting they're actually getting fine with Prima Luna, and they're putting together like a garage, like an empty garage that they're going to just completely do into essentially a man cave, but where they both can hang out. So like, they're going to put a bar in the corner. They're going to put a projector at one point with a pull down screen. Like, they're going all out, and she's gung ho, and she gets to decorate. She's like, I've got ideas to match speakers. They're getting them in beautiful walnut. It was a whole thing. And watching her mind kind of turn and click and be like, whoa, this makes sense. This is so exciting.
Yeah, I have a huge advantage. When we first got married, my husband wanted to buy a HiFi system. And he, instead of saying, I'm going to go buy a HiFi system, he kind of had me go date HiFi systems. Like, we went to a lot of different shops and listened to a lot of different things. And then he took me to the final place that we went, and he said, okay, what do you think of these? And I said, oh, I love these. These are great. And he said, these cost a 12th as much as the other ones. What do you think? And we were newlyweds, and we had a little bit of money to spend. And I was like, oh, you sold me on HiFi. You taught me that I love it. And then you showed me something that I can afford. And I was like, let's do this. There was no question asked. There was no question. And they were beautiful too. So,
the aesthetics are a part of it. You can, I think for a lot of people, and some people don't care that much. Like I could, for the most part, I could care less what the speakers look like, but when you get something that's really well done, it really does bring a room together, and it can make something pop. Like Klipsch has their Fortes that come with the lamb's wool grill, and it's so nice. It's so pretty. And their new Auburn Klipsch horns, the ones that we're bringing, it's like this super deep red color that kind of pops and changes depending on how the light, whether it's a little bit more brown, a little bit more red, kind of like a rustic red almost too. It's really exciting when I got to see them and we pulled them out, and I saw that we had the Auburn ones. It's like, yes, they're not just black ash, which the black ash looks really good, but the Auburn was really something special.
So how many times have you been to the show?
This will be my second time.
Okay.
Last year was my first time, and this will be number 2. So I like it. Like I said, it's the hometown show. I don't have to get on a plane, which is really easy. I can just drive down. The restaurants around the area, I know there's good breweries. There's the beach is just like 15 minutes down the road. It's just nice. I had some of my family came last year because they're starting to get into HiFi and stuff, so they got to experience that. It's definitely a favorite of mine because of all the hometownness.
Well, we got to get your sisters there so that they don't have to have you
They will
turn the
never.
system on.
They will never.
Let me talk to them. I'll bet you I can.
Their husbands, I could convince my brother-in-laws, but my sisters, no, they're done. My dad has his own HiFi system. He's got a nice home theater system that I helped set him up with. He's got a nice Regaplaner 3 as well that he absolutely loves vinyl. So he's cool, but the rest of them aren't gonna budge. Unfortunately, I wish I could get them. One doesn't even live here, so she'd have to fly down, and she also has a newborn, so that makes it tough.
Challenge accepted in the far future.
The far future.
I give myself 15 years to get them.
Cool uncle. I'm the cool uncle. So, I got the kid on a snowboard already. I got him a bike. Now he needs a HiFi system.
There we go. Absolutely. For him, really, so 2 headphones separated a little bit. That could just be his system.
Yeah, just I can just do this for him for an hour at a time, and he can listen to Shaboozey nonstop. Because how many 2-year-olds love Shaboozey? That's his comfort song. He'll listen to it 50 times in a row. There
we go. That's exactly what he needs.
It's a lot, yeah, and that's exactly the song you want to listen to on a HiFi system is a bar song, but got to keep a 2-year-old happy.
So in your home system, I see you have headphones, and you talked something about your headphones. Do you have another type of system also, or do you at home just have headphones?
I just have my headphones. I had a pair of the original ELAC DB6s. So the first pair that Andrew Jones came out with back in college, because we sold them at Best Buy, got them on a sweet deal. I got a really sweet Pioneer system receiver that was in a college room, and it was a little much, I might say. It wasn't set up properly at all, but it was like my first HiFi system. I think I had the speakers. One was on top next to the TV, and one was on the floor underneath the TV in a cabinet. And they're rear ported, so it just had a stupid amount of bass. But that was the room on the floor with cool systems. So, we had people come over all the time after I got off work to listen to like a new Kendrick Lamar album or a new J. Cole album or whatever came out. I sold him to a buddy, and I think he's now blown out the drivers. I think he said he cranked them too much listening to Pink Floyd. He still loves them. His girlfriend actually really likes them too. She's kind of caught the bug a little bit. But I just have my headphones. I've got they're Mesa 109 Pros. They're awesome. I do have the upgraded copper cable with the Japanese copper, partially because it's just really pretty. And it's long, so I can like lay down and read a book as well and listen to my system. And then the best part of my job is I get to take stuff home and listen to it and just play with it. So like I've got a Ferrum OOR and Hypsos stack here that I get to just, I kind of commandeered it. I think I've had it for like 6 months or so now, and they're not getting it back. But like I brought it home and I sat here, said I was like, all right, I'm going to listen to a song before I go to bed, or 2 songs. And then I ended up, it was like midnight. I ended up listening to an entire album. And I came in the next day, I'm like, guys, we got to talk about this. And we put up the weekly newsletter that day or that week. Hey, sometimes you just get that new piece, you know, maybe you get your speakers set up properly and you just forget what time it is. You sit there in the dark for an hour listening to music that you weren't planning on doing. So simple system. Like I said, it's going into my computer. It's not a crazy stream or anything, but it works because it's a computer and I can do a bunch of other things.
Yeah. Well, that's all the questions I have. I don't know if anyone wanted to ask any other questions in the chat. There are people watching us right now, so maybe they could say hi or see if there's anything else they have. But is there anything that I have not asked that you were just itching to talk about?
Well, is there something that you're looking forward to seeing at the show?
For me?
Yeah.
Ooh, well, for me, a lot of the things about the show are the experience and getting to be with a lot of people who share the hobby. And part of it is my passion for trying to get people who don't think they like it to start liking it. I like when people have those eye rolls and they start to just kind of, oh well, I'm here for my partner. And I'm like, no, you gotta have an opinion. So kind of the challenge is what excites me, and getting to hear something new every time. It's always fun because it's like, oh, I've heard so many systems. I'm sure I've heard them all, and there's no way I've heard all of the systems.
Oh my gosh, it's impossible to listen to everything at any audio show. I mean, you might be able to do a headphone show. But some of these, you know, like we bring 7 amps. I think we brought 7 amps to Exponent and like 25 headphones. Like, go ahead if you want to sit there for 4 hours, like be your guest, but you got to get up at some point. You got to go to the bathroom or something, and someone's going to pop in there and take your seat. Like it's just impossible to listen to everything.
Yeah. And I know that people say, oh you don't get ear fatigue if you listen to these, or if you listen to tubes, they don't give you ear fatigue. There is something to be said for having to stop listening at some point in time. So
I think it's when the tinnitus kicks in and you sound like you're at a concert after you know, a couple hours. That's usually a good point. But we've had people call us or you know, send us emails. They're like, hey, I'm sending this at 4 a.m. I started listening at 10 with my wife and we just got lost. There may be a empty bottle on the table now, and that wasn't empty. But we're having so much fun. Like, this speaker system is awesome. And, you know, that's what we started talking about. Like, we're all just hi-fi nerds. We just want to listen to music. And sometimes you get lost and you forget what time it is, and you've listened to 14 albums on a new turntable or something in a day. So,
so what are you looking forward to the most at the show?
I really want to go check out Chord. They've got some new stuff that they debuted, and I've also been good friends with them. I brought up the list of people here. Zesto has their new DAC as well, and George and Carolyn are some of our favorite people. You know, we just did. We've got a new video coming out with them soon, talking about Zesto and how everything works, and the fact that there's going to be another tube DAC on the market is kind of fun, because tube and digital is kind of a weird combo. Like, you just don't think about this old technology being merged with this new technology. I'm trying to think of what else it is. There's just so many things to keep track of and go see everything, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. You'll have a lot of Diet Coke breaks and
a lot of Diet Coke breaks. Let's see what else is there. I've got the list here. And sometimes you just you see names that pop up that you've never heard of before. You know, I'm trying to think of
Well, I can tell you one.
Yeah.
There was our first system that I was talking about that we that my husband let us buy. Um, it is Sioux Research, and it's right out of
Okay.
Anaheim, and they had never been at the show before, and they are gonna be there this year. So we're excited to see them just kind
Oh,
of
that's
for
awesome. Yeah, I
yeah.
have to check them out. Uh, there's a lot of stuff that came out at HiFi Munich that looked really interesting, and I'm hoping there's some of that gets brought. Maybe there will be some special things that we haven't gotten to see from brands that they're going to kind of debut. I know last year I left a little early, and as I was walking out to the parking garage, there was like 7 foot tall speakers that I'd never heard of before. I have no idea what they were. And Chris came back, one of our coworkers. He came back. He's like, "Dude, I just got to like stick my head in real quick, and they were insane." I'm like, "What were these?" I have no clue, but I'm like, I got to go back down there and see what's going on because there was some cool stuff.
Well, that brings me to after hours. You don't have to work in the after hour times, and those guys down there usually have their systems still blasting.
They
So
do. There's none of us are trying to sleep in the hotel rooms upstairs, so they can do whatever the hell they want down there and be totally cool with it.
yeah,
I know.
it
I know. This year at Exponent, we kind of did the same thing. We were in a gigantic hall room, and we snuck down with some drinks, and we were kind of tweaking things still, but we brought some friends, and there was like 10 of us listening to, I don't even remember, it was like Thundercat or something at like 11:30 with some beers and some cocktails. We're like, this is awesome. I'm so cool to be a part of this. That's a really cool dude. And then there's like really cool guys from the industry down there. And you're like, they know my name. This is cool.
that is what drew me into the show. The first time we went, we were in one of the rooms, and he said, we were like, "Oh, it's closing. We need to go." And he was like, "No, you don't. Stay
Yeah.
right there. Now you have a personal show." And we were like, "Wait, what?" And
Yeah.
we just got to sit there and listen, and he just kept playing and until we left. Like we left while they were still playing. People kept walking in and
Yeah.
listening, and it was it was pretty cool.
Well, and you get to meet cool people at the show too.
Yes.
I mentioned I had ELAC speakers designed by Andrew Jones. Like that was back when I was in college, 10 years ago. And so I'd known the name, and I got to meet him at our first Rel event that I went to at the shop. I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're Andrew Jones. Like I love your speakers. They're awesome." I had a pair. And then last year at the show, he did like his history of speaker design. And we saw him in the hallway, and he's like, "Oh, it's the Upscale guys." We're like, he knows who I am. This is so cool. Like speaker designer knows who I am. And we had a nice conversation. I didn't get a Diet Coke break at that time to go listen to it, but like there's cool things like that. You get that just someone you may look up to just walking around.
Hmm. Yeah. And there's people who you don't know you need to look up to because you haven't met them
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure the seminars have all sorts of crazy things that you can go to, and you're like, whoa, you might learn some new things.
Yeah. I didn't know how important when you were talking earlier about the speakers being on the ground instead of being on
Oh
the
yeah.
spikes. I didn't
Yeah.
know how important those were until I went to a seminar at the show. So,
Yeah. It's a crazy difference being able to decouple your speaker from the floor. And it's, especially if you're on like a raised foundation and you've got hardwood floors, like that's just an echo below you, making a
mhm.
ton of noise. And some speakers like to have that, like clips. They want to be coupled to the floor and get that resonance for the horn. But like the fine stuff, if you've got it on the floor, it does not sound like how it should. That needs to be on feet.
It's amazing how different things can sound with just a slight change or the
Mhm.
change of a room with these speakers that I'm talking about.
Yeah, we've got some new guys that we hired recently who are like hi-fi nerds, but they've never gotten to set up speakers so often. And one of
Mhm.
the guys, he went to the show last year before he was working with us. He listened to the Hedonia with us for the first time, and then he got hired. He's like, "Dude, this is so cool. Like, yeah, I remember meeting you. Like, well, welcome to the team." And we were setting up some demos. I'm like, "Okay, now just toe that in like a centimeter, like really just that little tiny bit. It's like, really? I'm like, yeah, here, go sit down. And I moved it quarter of an inch, maybe a centimeter. When I was like, whoa, that just, it locked into place. Everything just, it's these little tiny movements. Sometimes you need, you know, if you're doing bass, there's these gigantic movements. You're moving the speaker 6 inches forward, 6 inches back, left or right.
Mhm.
But when you're trying to get that center image, it really is just that little tiny bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been able to be in some of the rooms when people were setting them up, and it's a lot of fun to just see the experts in action, because like you said, at Upscale, you guys are setting them up and tearing them down over and over again
All the
because
time.
yeah, you've got private demos for all sorts of different people. So
Yeah, well, and you know, our new coworker, he's like, I have stuff at home, but I had to buy it. Like I have to buy everything that I want to listen to. Here I just get to listen.
mhm.
Which is also part of the fun, is like we get the new K horns, someone disappears for a half hour and you're like, oh, they're in there. That's why that room is dark, because they're hiding in the dark listening to speakers. Um, you know, and I thought it was the weirdest thing when I first got hired. They're like, yeah, just go listen to things. I'm like, but I need to be productive. No, you're learning. You're listening to all these different things. You got to listen to everything. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go sneak away then for 20 minutes and go listen to half of this album or whatever it is, and just learn and listen.
That's what I'm doing the next, like once I finish packing, maybe. I'm gonna listen to my 3 demo tracks that I want to listen to at the show on my 2 systems, just so that I remember what they sound like here, so that when
Mm-hmm.
I'm there and somebody asks me, "Hey, what do you want to listen to?" I'll say one of these 3 songs, and my ear will be tuned to it to know what it sounds like at home.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you gotta have your demo tracks. Are these like secrets, or are you willing to share the demo track?
I have weird I have weird taste. I
I
don't
love
know.
it.
I want to be I want I want to listen to things that won't freak people out too. So I kind of
Okay,
chose songs
that's
on
fair.
purpose that were not gonna freak people out. So I went with Billie Eilish, Bad Guy.
Classic. Yep.
I think that's a pretty easy one for people to do. Imagine Dragons, Belieber,
Okay.
and then Pink, Get the Party Started.
I love it. I love it. A lot of my newest test tracks have been stuff off of Bad Bunny's newest album.
Okay.
A lot of horns, big open kind of. There's a ton of stuff going on, and then you've got him kind of singing, rapping in the middle of it, and then, but it's all in Spanish,
Uh-huh.
but with, you know, Puerto Rican accent, and people, you know, people look at like, why do you know these songs? Because they're so good. I'm literally just like having a dance party in the dark by myself at work, and so that has become one of my newest ones. I think last year at the show I was jamming to Ariana Grande a ton for some strange reason. I was sitting there at the headphone booth, just like listening to Boyfriend nonstop, and people would put on the headphones like, who was listening to Ariana Grande? Like, that was me. But at the same time, Chris and I at the shop will put on Alice in Chains, and Wood off of the MTV Unplugged album is like, that's our go-to. Like, I can tell you everything about that album or everything about that song. So
I would
very
love to
big,
just
broad
say,
range.
I would love to just say, hey, can you put some Offspring on or some Metallica? But I don't
Yeah.
know that.
Unfortunately, most of the music I listen to, Metallica is pretty well recorded, but like Offspring, Sublime, like none of it's recorded
Yeah.
good. Um, Led Zeppelin really isn't well done. That's why I
No,
kind
I
of
try
tailor my
and they.
speakers to be nice and warm and not detailing and fatiguing, because yeah, you'll get the tinnitus in an hour or so.
Sometimes I just want to listen to noise. Covers the noise in my brain.
One of my favorite songs that I tell people about is called Cheap Beer.
Oh,
And the lyrics are I drink cheap beer, so what, F you. That's the chorus, and it does not sound good at all on anything, but it's so much fun to listen to.
yeah. There's definitely personality to our music, and we have different times we listen to different things, and that's
Yep,
part of the reason that the hobby's so much fun, is that no one's going to listen to the music the exact same way.
totally.
So, well, that being said, we're running out of time. Looks like I'm going to see you in probably, well, definitely less than 24 hours. I will see you.
Yeah. We will be around, running around like crazy tomorrow. There's always everybody at the show ends up at the hotel restaurant getting food after. So I will definitely be there. I don't know what time. I may just grab a sandwich and run back upstairs and keep working, but who knows? Maybe it goes really easy, and it should be a nice day tomorrow. So maybe I get to run outside with the sun still up.
Yeah. Check out, or just you need to take a break, and so you end up at the hotel restaurant because you know that you have 3 more hours of work and you need to take a 30-minute break.
Could do that as well.
So, well, I will keep my eye out for you, and I'm sure that you will be around.
Definitely.
So I'm excited about it, and I'm excited to see you there. So I will see you in 12 hours.
Yeah, you as well. Enjoy the show. Thanks everybody for watching, and if you're down there in Orange County, come say hi, and we'll have a good time.
Yeah. Well, thanks again.
All right. See ya.